Hey guys, this is Jeremy, and this is Brandon. We're with On Point Off-Road, and today we're coming at you from the Jeep Laboratory in Colorado. We're going to be talking about this badass TJ crawler we got behind us.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we're sitting here in the Jeep Laboratory. Brandon, let's talk about what we got going on with Bill's Jeep here. This is a pretty badass TJ.
It's a pretty badass TJ. He's had some issues with it though. As it sits, when he brought it to us, had a Dana 60 front end, 14-bolt rear end, both full width axles. He's got a nice healthy LS in here, turbo 400 transmission, Atlas 2-speed transfer case. But he just wants a little more. It came to us with hydraulic assist steering. He kept having some steering issues. He had a bunch of link issues, welds breaking, not the best build quality. So we're going to up his game a little bit.
All right, guys, so Brandon, tell us about these tires that Bill wants to run. These things are beefy. They look beefy. Tell us more about them, all right?
So this is the brand new Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X. And this is a sticky compound tire. So not DOT approved, like just badass rock crawling. Should hook up East Coast, West Coast, wherever Bill wants to go. He's got it mounted on some really nice race line 17x9 bead locks, and he's gonna be ready to rock and roll with these bad boys.
These lugs, these are nuts. I mean, I can stick my whole forearm in between these lugs. I mean, this is absolutely
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, check this out. Like, actually, look at this. This is a 43. Let's look at this next to a 42-inch MTR, which is the biggest MTR that's made. You can kind of see the difference in those two tires. Obviously, more of a streetable tire, and this tire here, you wouldn't want to drive on the street. It'd probably be bald in about 500 miles.
It's beefy tires though, so Bill's definitely want to do some work. So hey, these are going to be great on the Jeep. Let's go ahead and check out what else is going on with the Jeep.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, Brandon, so let's talk about this front axle. What we got going on here?
So what we got going on here is a 1990 Dana 60 from a F350, so a Ford F350, and these are a pretty desirable axle because they are kingpin knuckles and not ball joints.
So what's the kingpin do for you, Vice ball joint?
So a kingpin, all of the weight of that steer end sits on top of here with just a big nylon cup.
Okay.
There's no bearings or anything. There's a bearing in the bottom that holds the bottom of the knuckle in place.
Okay.
And as opposed to a ball joint, you just have a lot more material that is actually holding the knuckle on versus a little tapered stud.
So what we do with this beefy truss here?
So this big truss here, this is actually an Artec product, and this is their full hydro truss ram mount, just specifically for this Dana 60 axle. This is not only going to strengthen his axle from bending in any way, shape, or form, but it's also going to give us a good spot to mount our upper links on for the suspension. And right in here, we've got another big skid plate that goes in the front, and this will give us a good spot to mount our full hydraulic PSC ram.
Nice. We doing anything inside, or we leaving it alone?
So inside the diff, the customer has requested 538 gears and an ARB air locker, so we're going to take care of that also.
Awesome. Well, this thing is shaping up to be quite a glorious Jeep. Okay, guys, so looking at the underneath the Jeep, we're going to talk about the suspension. Brandon, what do you think about the suspension here?
Oh, hey guys!
Oh, hey, Brandon.
Hey, you guys are still here?
Awesome.
Hey! Oh yeah, so what we got going on underneath here is I guess what was on the Jeep was a 3-link in the front and a triangulated 4-link in the rear.
Okay.
So, some issues though. We've got lower links down here in the bottom. They're not welded on too good. Customer already had an issue with an entire link bracket coming off of the frame on the rear driver's side.
And that's just bad welds?
Bad welds.
Okay.
So we're going to fix those issues. We're going to retain a 3-link in the front. We'll have 2 long lower control arms. We'll have 1 main upper control arm on the driver's side to control our axle on that side. And other than that...
And what are we going to do, Brent? Talk about this real quick. So what are we going to do with... So see the bump stops here, right?
Yeah.
Where the axle sits, okay?
Yeah.
And if you notice where the harmonic balancer sits there, how are we gonna fix this part of the Jeep so that the axle has some up travel and isn't constantly trying to run into that harmonic balancer?
Well, I tell you what, let me creep out from underneath here and let's talk about that.
All right. Okay, Brandon, so let's talk about how we're going to fix those axle issues, right? With that up travel, not having any of that stuff. What are we going to do with this?
So, on this particular Jeep, we want to move this axle forward and get it away from this engine, this harmonic balancer.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, right now, as the Jeep sat, it was a 106-inch wheelbase when it came to us. It's going to end up at a 112-inch wheelbase. We're going to leave the rear axle the same. That's not going to move. The front axle, though, we're going to come forward 6 or 7 inches.
Okay.
And we run into a couple problems when we do that. If you'll notice, right here, the frame takes this big S-curve up. The reason a lot of guys will leave the axle in this area is because you have a good 4 inches more axle travel. But it's too close to the engine, and we got to just get it away from that bad boy.
Okay.
So we're going to push that axle out this way. The issue there is running into the frame. So at this point right here, we're going to cut a straight line down on both sides. We're going to take this frame, this whole front frame section is gone, it's trash. We're going to run straight frame rails all the way from here out to here. And that front axle is going to have plenty of room to come up and articulate without hitting anything.
Nice. That's going to look good when it's done.
It's going to look fantastic.
Outstanding. All right, well, anything else about this kind of the front end of this Jeep here real quick?
Well, we're going to add some hydraulic bump stops, get rid of these. Little better ride form. We're going to end up redoing our coilover mounts. On his Jeep, he's actually running some ORI struts. We're going to redo the mounts for those. We'll retain his winch up here. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the front end of this Jeep.
Okay, very cool. Hey, thanks. Okay, Brandon, so when Bill brought this Jeep in, he had these ORI struts on here. Tell us a little bit more about these ORI struts and kind of what's the difference between these and, I don't know, maybe a coilover or a regular shock that you'd see on a stock Jeep or something like that.
So, biggest difference between this and what you would think like, oh, it's just a shock. This actually is doing double duty. It's a shock, and it's also holding up the entire weight of the vehicle.
So no springs involved.
No springs.
Okay.
These are purely held up by air, nitrogen, in fact.
Okay.
They're nitrogen charged, top and bottom, and they're actually kind of neat. You can adjust them in a certain way to where the bottom of the strut itself will actually act as your bump stop. So you can also get a bump stop. So you got 3 in 1, killing 3 birds with 1 stone here. You know what I'm saying?
So what's the advantage of running this over, let's say, a coilover?
I would say the advantage over a coilover would probably be a little bit smaller of a package.
Okay.
And
give you a little bit more mounting options, maybe?
Maybe some more mounting options. Plus, they're extremely tunable. If you have a nitrogen kit with you, I mean, you can really mess with the nitrogen at the top and bottom and get different ride rates for going fast and all kinds of stuff. And they're going to be quiet. You're not going to have any spring clinginess like you do commonly with a coilover.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Brad.
No problem.
All right, guys. So that about completes our walk around of Bill's Jeep here and what we're going to do to it. How long do you think this is going to take, Brandon?
We've got an estimated time of mid-April to have this project completed.
Just in time for Moab.
Just in time for Moab.
All right, guys. So, hey, you see us out there on the trails, don't be afraid to say hello. If you see Bill's Jeep out on the trails, don't be afraid to say hello, even though you might be rolled over. No big deal. We'll get it covered. All right, but this is Jeremy and Brandon signing off from On Point. Remember, if you're not on point, you're off course.